77 and I've lived in Brixton all my life. Well, in Lambeth all my life.
We have to talk?
Yes, please.
Go on.
What do you want me to say?
How old are you, your age, who you are?
My age is...
How long you live in the borough of Lambeth?
My age is 81. I won't be 17 again. We've lived here in South Garden 30 years.
Are you together?
Yeah.
Yes, we're together.
How long have you been married? 45
years.
Wow. Can you repeat that, please?
45 years.
When was the last argument you had?
So we know each other.
Wow. And your name and how old are you, if that might be asking?
It's Sylvie Robinson. Sylvie Robinson.
Wow. And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
76.
Wow. Okay. Go to the next one.
Yes, hello. Yeah, I'm Bernard Scott, and this is my mum, Jocelyn Scott. We've lived here in Brixton for 33 years.
Yeah. My name is Hazel Crawford, and I live in this country 52 years.
I don't know about them now. They're too young. This one, she's too young.
Your name and how long you've lived in the area?
Yes, I'm in this area.
Your name?
Mary Allen.
Okay. How old are you?
101. You know,
Yes,
no, that's good.
Well done.
Louise.
Louise. How old are you?
74.
Well, my name is Ade Taiwo. I came to this estate in 1990. I'm 81 years old.
Hello?
Hi, well, I'm Bev Latibodia. I don't actually live in the borough. I'm just visiting. It's very nice. This is all very nice.
Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Name and age, please.
My name is Maud Eswick. I'm age 63. Live in Lambeth for, can't remember, 20-something years. About 31 years. Live in Lambeth.
Thank you.
I'm too young, innit?
My name is Hazel Watson, and I've lived in the borough, I'd say about 54 years. So I've been married 52 years, and I lived in the borough a little bit before that.
Thank you.
My name is Christopher Metcalf. I'm on the Great London Pensioners. I stand up for pensioners, etc. I don't believe in ageism, quoting it in newspapers or whatever it is. You live for the day and tomorrow, and that's about all you live for. So and do your best for others.
I'm Anthea, and I'm one of the organisers of today's event, which I'm hoping people are enjoying.
You don't need to know about me.
Lipton, who this club was named after, and I'm talking from a personal point of view. He was the MP for around here, Brixton, and back in 1965, when my mum first came here, he was the only councillor who gave housing to West Indians or African people coming up from West Indies, Africa or the Caribbean back in those days. So he came from around here, his family came from around here, he helped black people around here to get housing, because back in those days, and I know a lot of you can remember, there was no the signs in the window saying no dogs, no Irish, no blacks or something like that. But he was the only one who fought to give black people housing around here. This centre was built in 1978 and was named after him for the people of Brixton. His sons and his grandsons still visit and still communicate with us here at Marcus Street. He also, to finish, was a very personal friend of my family, and he used to come to dinner on a Sunday. He loved rice and peas.
Okay. 6 children, and they wouldn't give none of them free dinner at school. And I went into his office and told him about it. And he went to 10 Darling Street and wrote a letter and sent it to them. And by the following week, 2 of them get free dinner. So it was very good to me.
Wow.
Lambeth again, I went there. Lambeth, I get a house with Lambeth. And they said, move in, and when you move in, I'll do up your kitchen and your bathroom. When I went here, there was nothing. I had to go to a warehouse and get one of those big long tin bath and a bucket, and then hot the water from downstairs, bring it upstairs to bath the children them into. And then when I fed up of it, I have to go to him again. And he must write Lambeth and shame them. Them come and put a little cheap bath in the house. And then, after living there for 37 years, they just come this year, the 1st of August, and do up the kitchen. You see, so Lambeth is no good to me.
They're worse than the fascist government, the way they're going at the moment. So I'm saying to you, it's totally the most rotten lot I've ever known in my life. And they're not going to get better. They'll get blooming worse.
So where are you seeing it going? If you had a time machine, where would you see it going? What do you feel is going to happen?
Well, I think what we've seen the brave people have done to Paul's Church, was the right thing. Stand up and let them know you don't like them. No politician's going to like to be unpopular, and you do it the civil way to them, and say, we don't like you, and you put the reasons up for it, and you stick it up. All they think of here is the stock exchange and them spibs that we got there, robbing pension funds, robbing the National Health Service, everything that's been put good over the last 13 years, they don't like.
It's not like what it used to be.
It's not how it used to be.
We wasn't working for such much money, but we had it better. We had it better in the 60s, and the 50s we had it better. But now we're working for too much money and it's worse. You have to borrow too much money.
Borrow too much money?
You have to pay more for the housing, you have to pay for everything, lighting and everything, you have to pay so much money for that.
Our parents came up, and then we follow our parents. Our parents had this belief that, as you say, the sus law, so we would get stopped for sus, police would come to our house, If the police say you done it, you've done it. And that is where we, as that generation, split from our parents, because we were trying to say, but we didn't. It wasn't nothing to do with us, and don't matter what we did, we couldn't get that message over. So then we became the breakaway rebellion, where we were on our own. Our parents there, the system there, we here, and we made the system. Hence 81 riot. Yeah, that is where I saw it as a young person, coming from Barbados, growing up on these streets around here. That is where the separation was. That is where we lost the grandparent side of things, because we was then on our own. We were leaving home at the age of 15, 16, 17, and having kids. Why? So we can get a council flat, so we can be our own. And it broke away. We lost that grandparents bonding right there. The system forced us to have that, break that divide. You have to divide. Divide and conquer. And that's where it happened. The divide, and now they will conquer, because they've divided us from our parents. We didn't have that, the young people didn't have that with their grandparents. So there's a big separation, a whole generation separation. And what's going to happen is going to separate even more. Some of us was managed to hold the strains. Very few. Not say everyone's missed it. Some of us still carry the old torches. Me for one. Yeah? But a lot of people have let it go, and that's where it's gone, because we had to, it was conforming to society, and we wanted to be society, and we built our own society. Yeah? Bob Marley, when Bob Marley came out on first time and reggae music come on and we started to lock up, our parents says, oh no! Oh no, you're not coming in here with that! Dread bunny head, where's the comb? And we then again pushed away. You see where I'm coming from? So we was pushed away because we wouldn't be believed. We tried to make our own, our identification through our roots and our music, and we thought we was doing the right thing by finding our roots, going back and see where we were coming from, finding out a bit by ourselves, because by that time a lot of us was lost. Found ourselves, and that is where the divide comes. I don't know if anybody agrees with me that, but that's my own personal view. As a Windrush kid, growing up on these streets and around here and seeing it. Brixton's been my life from
By the time we had the Notting Hill riots, the police brutality, where crime and yeah, exactly, crime and gangland violence, changes in the government, where a lot to do where people, especially black people, stood up for their rights, and then we got Thatcher, and we had to, and then we got these housing estates that they built up during the 70s, and then we ended up with 1981 and the riots. And by the time we got to 1981, people of my age group, like then I would have been 21, 22, had said, you know what, in terms of authority, the system, the state, the way we were being educated, the way we were being treated in schools, the quantity of us who knew someone who was either in jail or in care or in some kind of trouble with someone, by the time we got to that stage, having been in the country from the Windrush generation for around about 30 years or so, something didn't filter down to the next generation. The way that it might have done from the 50s to the 60s or the 60s to the 70s. 70s to the 80s, 80s to 90s, 90s to noughties, something didn't filter down. There was so much fragmentation, so much breakup, people who came and were living in very, very low class or low quality private housing, moving on to council estates and then getting their own property. So we didn't even have within geographic areas 4 or 5 generations of positive influence, and that fragmentation, in my opinion, is what caused some of the breakup. But on another level, to try and look on the bright side, there are still pockets of high energy community activism, community champions. These ladies being on the chairs of local committees for 30 years, or being on committees for 40 years, generating millions of pounds worth of income for local communities. That kind of positive stuff goes on, but we're not joined up, we're not linked up, we haven't got the same kind of focal point. And if these ladies, I'll touch wood later, but if these ladies or when these ladies pass away, I'm not comfortable that the next generation to take up that gauntlet, to take up that challenge, is actually ready and fit for purpose to take it forward. So the pockets of positive energy are shrinking.
We lost our parents, like his generation lost his parents, simply because the parents believed the police and not him. Don't forget, you have to realise they grew up believing that authority, especially white authority, was right.
So that's universal. I mean, it's not only here.
That was right, wherever it was, but that was right. Therefore, it was very difficult. And you know, children are children, and children are rude, and children are wrong, and they couldn't believe. And I think it wasn't because they didn't love their kids, they literally could not believe that the police could.
Everything around tolerance, acceptance, multiculturalism, many people from different nations living under a banner of unity and having laws and legislation to back it up. But what I think has happened is that as numbers in society have increased, there's been more demand on housing, on resources, on services. Local councils have got bigger and bigger, trying to deliver more and more complex initiatives for local people, that something has got lost in the mix. I wasn't here during the 20s and 30s, believe it or not, but I am here now, and what I think I've noticed even in my 50-odd year lifespan is that there's less love and care in the way that a lot of public sector services are delivered, that often money and cost is one of the criteria that people use rather than satisfaction, and people believing that services are delivered from the heart and the soul rather than the budget balance and the bank account. That's one of the major differences that I've seen, and I think that people, you still have members of the community who are prepared to go beyond the norm to help other members of their community. This event is one, things that Loughbrough Junction Action Group are one, and even the things that Trevor are trying to do here from this centre is one. But more and more, that's done against a bigger and bigger tide of cuts, of misunderstanding, of lack of communication, of some workers not really caring about their job the way that it's certainly when I started doing community and youth work 30 years ago, the way that I did and the people that I worked with did. So I think that's a significant change that I've noticed.
How detrimental are you? Or are you surplus to the requirements now? Do we need grandparents now? Are they essential?
We ain't only just move house, we move country. And grandparents are all left out, and the grandparents that we have now, they cannot say go to their grandchildren because they look right. You might not look what you was 10, 20 years ago, but then look how many of us around you can make you look, could make a difference for you, and that's not happening. And the caring in the NHS, they're not being trained on the job or trained to care. They're trained in the universities. Then they come out, they've got qualification for every illness there is. But can they really care? No, they cannot. They're all just dishing out orders. Would you give Mr. So-and-so, so-and-so? Did they come back to see if Mr. So-and-so had? Or is being fed? None of that. There's a lot of elderly people there in the hospital who do with someone, their grandchildren. I used to say to people, I wonder where your grandson or granddaughter is. What you hear from, oh, I don't like hospital, don't like this and don't. That's what you hear. They don't like these places, but yet they goes out the street and they get plastered, and where do they go?
I think grandparents are being used. They're not revered. When I grew up in Jamaica, my grandmother ruled the roost, basically. She was the mainstay. She kept the family together. She was respected. If there was a problem, people came and discussed it with her. And now I feel, even in this country, that's out the window. You don't know what's happening with your own children in their family. And therefore, if there's a problem between your son or your daughter and their spouse, you don't know about it and they don't come and discuss it, so you can't help. It's quite often problems can be fixed if you talk about it within a family, but you don't even know what's going on. You know something is wrong, but you don't even dare say, well, what's going on? You're not included.
If there's a problem going on between them and their spouse, and you probably pick up on something, and it's none of your business. You know,
Don't
you
interfere.
just don't interfere, because if you do, you get a door. You march out of that door.
Especially if you're in their home.
Oh yes. Yes. Many times I had to leave my daughter's house and walk out crying, and I'm not ashamed to say, because many times I come home and I'm in tears because I saw something and I decided I'm going to say what I have to say, because that's me. But that's the way I've been brought up. My grandparents they rule the rules, and if anything happened, you can talk, but you can't say anything, not even to the children. This is my child. I just ask you to come and babysit. Don't discipline her, please.
Yes.
I'm here. What do you do?
It's all the teenagers now. They don't have a father figure or mother figure because they're more like friends. My kids, I think I brought my kids up how my mum brought me up, because like my mum, she's a hierarchy in my family, and I wasn't born in Jamaica, I was born here. So my kids are brought up the way I think is right. Yeah, my kids kind of fear my mum, and that's the way it should be, but it's not like that in a lot of families. Because a lot of the kids are not caring about their mums and dads, they're more like friends, and yeah, we're going out here, we're going out there. They want to see that thing, and I don't think it's right.
5-year-old coming up to me and saying, "Morning, Bev, I don't like it, I am not your companion."
Yeah.
I am not your companion,
them. I say,
and I don't like a 5-year-old calling me Bev. But even when you go to the doctors or the hospital, you're automatically called by your Christian name. Who gives that person a right to call me that without my permission? I nursed all my life, and I would never, I never did go to a patient and say, "Hello, Sylvia." I'd say to them, "Do you mind if I call you?"
So I wouldn't go as far as saying that it was a failure, but I would definitely say that my induction into British society could have been better and less painful if my parents had an understanding of what an oppressive, racist, institutionally bigoted system could do to their children, especially when we didn't have a 300-400 year history in this country in this time. We are children, we're babies, like we're younger than America in terms of a people presence in a country. So I wouldn't call it failure, but I'd definitely say that to my mind it wasn't fit for purpose, and that a lot of people of my generation and younger work a lot harder to make their children conscious of the struggle, conscious of the fight, the fact that you often have to be 2, 3, 4 times better than the next man in order to get an equal chance, an equal bite of the cherry. And I certainly think that exploiting opportunities for education, enterprise, entrepreneurship, taking risks, mainstream risk, and even kind of like a little bit left field risk, all of those things weren't embedded and instilled in us the way that I see a lot of people of my age doing it in their children now. So it's not failure, but it was inadequate.
Afternoon everyone, my name is Tom Hugo, I live just up the road, I'm a community organiser. We're talking about having unlimited resources. If we had unlimited resources, if we had unlimited time, if we had all the money in the world. But the fact is we don't. But also the fact is there is stuff we can do. We talked about opening a new school or restoring discipline, changing the way that teachers behave, all of that kind of stuff. There are about 8 schools within walking distance of here which friends and family attend, and who we could have a relationship with, and who we could start the conversation about doing these sorts of things with. So I mean, I think it's great to sort of fantasize about having unlimited money and resources, but also I think why can't we talk about what we don't need to have that unlimited resources. Let's talk about what we can do now together with the resources that we have, and start putting into practice some of these wonderful things which people are talking about. And there are all sorts of ways that can happen, and people can be creative about it. But I'd encourage people to not think that this is something which you need to wait for winning the lottery to sort out. You know, many of you lot can be governors at some of these schools. Many of you lot will have relationships with teachers at these schools, and you you can start contributing in those sorts of ways. We're meeting together like this, and it's wonderful. We could do this more often and more regularly. So I just want people to think that there's stuff we can do and there's stuff that we should do from tomorrow, rather than waiting until we get the unlimited resources.
Well, it's been a very eventful day, and I have to thank Angela for bringing me. I've learned a lot about this guy here, Marcus Lipton, and I know what we've got is a big job ahead. We've sort of 3 years of funding, and we've got to build a community, and I think what we established today was actually an amazing historic event, and I would like this to go further, and we're going to do this more in the community. We asked the question like, what is your next steps? And everybody was saying the same similar kind of thing. So why can't we do nothing? Why are we still stuck in this zone? We hit some valuable points. That 1981 was a big turning point for society, and we need to travel back to that event and revisit what went wrong and develop where we can go forward. This ain't over. This is just the beginning. And we thank people like this, Marcus Lipton, for helping to challenge that deep-rooted perception and move us forward as people. But now, where are them champions? That's the question. That is the question.
Modern civilization, good working conditions for all. High wages unlikely to fall. All you got to do is give us your labour. Get on a boat, a plane, a train, and come on over. So mama leave, mama leave. Mama leave the little island in the sun. Mama leave, mama leave. Mama leave and say she soon send for the youths to make them come. Mama leave. Good working conditions for all. High wages unlikely to fall. All you got to do is give us your labour. Get on a boat, a plane, a train, and come on over. So mama leave, mama leave. Mama leave the little island in the sun. Mama leave, mama leave. Mama leave and say she soon